The 400 meter dash semis at the USA Championships are officially over. And yes, there was a Quincy Wilson sighting, but it didn't go at all how anybody thought it would go. So I am here to talk about it. That said, allow me to set the stage. Because the way things are set up, there are 3 heats of the semis, no prelims, like it's just semis to finals. And with that in mind, you gotta get to the final if you want a shot to make it to Team USA. 9 men go to the final from these semis. But regardless, Quincy Wilson came into this meet having run 44.10 seconds, and if we're being real about it, when it comes to the men's 400 right now, he is the biggest star that we have in the sport, like specifically for America. We are living in a world without Michael Norman and Fred Curley running the 400. Those were America's biggest, heavy hitters that we had in that event. Not just on the clock. They have medals to back it up. But since they're not running this year in that event, it doesn't mean we don't have a whole lot of talent. So with that in mind, I'm not going to go through every single heat. I'm just going to give you the bullet points and tell you what it all means. As far as who did make the final, because trust me, I'm getting to Quincy Wilson in a moment. It's basically the usual suspects, like Vernon Norwood and Bryce Deadman, who are both, Olympic gold medalists in the 4x4 from, hey, this past Olympics, yeah, they're in the final, as well as World Championship indoor medalists. Ja'Cory Patterson and Chris Bailey, yes, they're in the final. They just did that this past year in 2025. Then you move to athletes like Justin Robinson, who, even though he doesn't have a major pro sponsor at the moment, he is a mixed relay gold medalist from the World Championships if you go back a few years. I call them the usual suspects because, yeah, when they come to a USA Championship, they've been here and they've done that, and they've gone over to the world to do stuff. But Quincy Wilson, in his heat specifically, yeah, coming into it, we fully expected that he was going to make the final because he was in the final at the Olympic trials last year and made it look interesting. That's how he got on the relay team that, eventually allowed him to come back with a medal. But no, he did not qualify. He actually didn't break 45 seconds. I believe he got 4th in his heat. I'm just doing this, off of memory. But what matters most is that him not making the final really raises a larger question about, kind of where he is in his career. Quincy Wilson is a high school junior about to be a senior. So the fact that he's at USA's on one end is a huge accomplishment. But because he is one of the biggest names in the sport, again, when we talk about American track and field, Quincy Wilson's name is, the headline when it comes to the 400 right now. So if you show up to the USA's and you've made it to the final in the past, and I guess you could say based on his age, he's the future. He's technically next up. But because of what he's been doing, we've seen him at USA Indoor, we saw him at indoor meets like the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix, he runs with pros while still being a high school kid. And when he shows up, he almost always shows out. So it now brings up a question because the clock that he gave us in the semis wasn't, peak Quincy Wilson. But that's the thing, there's different versions of Quincy Wilson. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. The version that runs on the high school circuit, this year, that guy didn't break 45. He doesn't have to win almost any high school race. Every once in a while, an athlete who, sets it on their mind to break a high school national record or, to put down a U.S. high school, national lead or something, that kid gets in a heat with Quincy and, comes to put in work, fine, he might maybe lose a race. But other than that, he doesn't have to go that fast. But that same Quincy Wilson turns into somebody else when he runs against the pros, or specifically on, the U.S. national stage. That's what happened last year at the Olympic trials. And this year, that's fully what I expected to happen again. When he went down to Ed Murphy and goes 44.1, I was watching that race unfold. I watched the lead up, the race itself, and everything after it. Quincy Wilson proved, again, because he had done it before, why he is the real deal. This year, he's been, beating the odds over and over and over again, going into professional fields and winning. That's what happened at, the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Then, going to USA Indoor and making the final. This is actually the first USA final that Quincy Wilson did not make. As far as I can tell, when he actually pulls up to run a race, this is the first time that he actually didn't make the final. So, no, there's no panic button that people should be hitting as a result. We all know his age. But Quincy Wilson is also at a unique point in his career where he's going to have to make a decision. Because he can run grown man times. Not my words, those are his words. But if you're going to run grown man times, you're going to have to do it the same way that the grown men do it. They don't just run fast all over the place. They run fast specifically in the one race that they actually need to run. And even though he didn't have to run his best race in the 400-meter semis, he needed to run pretty close to it. And that's not exactly what we got from Quincy. If he's on a pro program, training, aligning, and competing on that stage, it'll be much easier for him to dial it in when he needs to. But because right now, he's, again, living life on the edge between high school and running pro, and all the top colleges in America want him to come run track for them. Obviously, that makes a whole bunch of sense. But it's pretty clear he doesn't need to run track in college. He can go to college and get an education, but he don't need to run track in college. Because what is the point? He's already faster than everybody who we have at the college ranks running the 400 on his PR. That was the case this year, and basically the case last year as well. So going to that level, the only thing that can happen is Quincy Wilson can underachieve. Because he can't win when you're already faster than everybody before you get there. It's kind of like where Cindy McLaughlin-Lavroni was before she went to run for the University of Kentucky. To some degree, going there was not really a risk, but it's like she was trying to pretend that she was like everybody else, which she wasn't. So she goes to college, messes around indoors because they don't have the 400 hurdles, still makes national championship finals in the 200 and the 400 and, events like that because she had that type of talent. I know she was in like the SEC 200 final. Maybe it wasn't the national championship final, but close enough. And then you move forward from that, collegiate record in the 400 hurdles, goes over to the world, takes care of business, and the rest is history. Like, we all know how this movie kind of had played out from that point on. She only ran in college for one season. And as far as I can tell, I think the real point here is that she had to eventually realize, I'm not like everybody else. Quincy Wilson is not like everybody else. Him running in high school this year is more or less pretending that he's like everybody else. He can come back to high school and run again next year, and if he does, hey, he's supposed to win every race. Anything less than that would be a failure. No shade, just being honest. I don't see anybody out there at the high school level who can actually run with Quincy. He can underachieve, and maybe you get him, but if we're talking about a 400-meter race, whether it's indoors or outdoors, you ain't supposed to beat him because you don't have the talent to do it. Nobody does. That's why he belongs running on the world stage. His talent has already shown us that. Whatever happened at the USA this year is what happened. We still have a whole bunch of talent that is going to fight it out in the final. Hey, I already gave you some of the bullet points, and we might even have some surprises that sneak through and maybe make the team. But right now, when it comes to the 400 and American sprinting, we don't really have a face that represents us. There is no Michael Norman. There is no Fred Curley. Quincy Wilson is the next face. In fact, he is the future. Some might even call him the future. But for now, we're going to have to wait for that future to unfold. In the sport of track and field, race day is honestly the easy part, because all of the real work gets put in when nobody is watching. When you wear every day is training day gear, you can let the whole world know that your success in competition is not an accident. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below, and it always comes with free shipping. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.